Inflation and uncertainty on oil shock means Fed should wait and see kept the tone centered on consumer discretionary and semiconductors. Welcome to your daily market briefing for 2026-04-14. The broad market traded with a strong tone as SPX closed plus 1.18% and NDX finished plus 1.81%. Leadership came from GLD, XLY, while pressure showed up in XLE, XLP. Here is the broad market snapshot. S&P 500 up 1.18%. Nasdaq 100 up 1.81%. Dow Jones up 0.66%. Next, the ETF curve set shows where relative strength and weakness developed through the session. Leaders were gold plus 2.23%, consumer discretionary plus 2.21%. Laggards were energy minus 2.03%, consumer staples minus 0.10%. Across global markets, the session leaned constructive globally, with most major regions holding up. Australia was one of the weakest pockets in the map, while United States and North America held up better than the rest. Stepping back, the broad market traded with a strong tone as SPX closed plus 1.18% and NDX finished plus 1.81%. Leadership came from GLD, XLY, while pressure showed up in XLE, XLP. The stock market fear and greed index is 47, which sits in neutral. That suggests positioning is more balanced, and the next macro catalyst may decide direction. On the S&P 500 heat map, leaders were consumer discretionary plus 2.21%, semiconductors plus 2.01%. Laggards were energy, negative 2.03%, consumer staples, negative 0.10%. Policy expectations remain a major driver, and upcoming macro releases is one of the next data points traders will use to calibrate the Fed path. If that data surprise is hot, long-duration trades could stay under pressure. Commodity action was split. Gold led, while crude oil lagged, so the move looked selective rather than broad-based. The index board leaned higher, with Nikkei carrying the weakest tone, and Nasdaq holding up best. Mega-cap curves were mostly positive, which points to a broad tone move more than a single-name story. Forex showed a risk-on currency tone, with the sharpest move in USD-JPY and the best relative strength in AUD-USD. Crypto remained under pressure, which helps confirm the broader market risk tone. Bond curves suggest yields were mixed to lower, so rates still mattered for the session. The main focus stayed concentrated in consumer discretionary and semiconductors. The pressure point remained energy and consumer staples. Into the next session, the key checks are the next macro events, the path of yields, and whether leadership broadens or narrows. Traders should also watch whether inflation and uncertainty on oil shock means Fed should wait and see, says PIMCO's Clarida. That is the key takeaway for today's market. The broad market traded with a strong tone, as SPX closed up plus 1.18% and NDX finished up plus 1.81%. Leadership came from GLD, XLY, while pressure showed up in XLE, XLP. Keep watching policy signals, index leadership, and the next macro catalysts. Subscribe for the next daily market briefing.